Think about 60,000 people have gone to this school in 40 years. 40,000 didn't graduate. This is the damage that this school has done to this neighborhood.
A child that doesn't finish high school will earn less and be 8 times more likely to go to prison.
I want to go to school.
For these kids, their only chance at getting into a great school depends on whether their number is picked in the lottery.
So if Francisco doesn't get in, is there another chance?
No.
Your children and future generations are on the bridge of the Titanic and everybody's going to drown.
Someone has taken an interest in you, someone loves you, and they recognize the importance of education. And the first student selected, 20. 9.
It takes a lot of outrage and a lot of good examples to say, yes, we can do this.
When you see a great teacher, you are seeing a work of art.
I want my kids to have better than what I had.
18. 10. 12. 2. And the last number.
That is in the movie Waiting for Superman. Regardless of whether you agree or disagree with the Academy Award-winning writer and director, Guggenheim's depiction of the American schools illuminated the disparity in our school system of haves and have-nots. Which neighborhoods in America offer children the best chance to rise out of poverty? The Opportunity Atlas answers this question using anonymous data following 20 million Americans from childhood to their mid-30s. As we see in the graph, some places lift children out of poverty. Others seem to trap them there. Some neighborhoods only seem to beget their parents' lot in life, offering opportunities to students of affluent parents. Some neighborhoods offer the chance to rise out of poverty. Where does much of the difference come from? Our schools, and more specifically, our teachers and leaders in those schools. Waiting for Superman serves as a foundation for an important dialogue regarding public education in America. A dialogue that too often becomes a shouting match of ideology, of left or right, blue or red, while ignoring the fact that children are damaged by our inability to do more about the educational and economic inequalities that exist in every city, every town, every district, and every state. Is this map about political ideology? No. It's about the amount of income that children from parents, whether they be affluent or low income, will make in their lifetime after going to school in their neighborhood. What this video is about is that great schools won't come from Superman. They will come from you. How do you create a good school? How do you create an impactful school? One where students can thrive regardless and despite of where they or their parents started? Our system is uniquely diverse to the benefit of some and the detriment of others. How do we possibly educate that many students well? This video suggests how we can harness and learn from the undeniable success and quality of some of 60 to 70% of the American school system to support the teachers and leaders, and especially students, that need it most. By the end of this video, you'll see how to integrate and implement many of the 10 mind frames of visible learning, and especially what John Hattie would call collective efficacy, the #1 most impactful influence to student achievement. As psychologist Carol Dweck points out, collective efficacy can be learned by both teacher and leader, but they need support in doing so. However, unlike the movie, Watson Swat Swale points out in his rebuttal book, Finding Superman, the real solution is tackling equity is collaboration,
and when you
not
look at that quarter of a billion students, you get a distribution like this. And you can see there that there's not much in the red zone. And probably the best news I have for you today on the webinar is there's hardly anything that we do to students that harm them. It's kind of good news. And certainly across the United States, my estimate is around 60 to 70% of teachers and schools are already in that blue zone. Excellence is all around us. And the fundamental visible learning story, which in many senses is quite different to many, most argument, most professional learning, most policies start from the assumption, we're bad, it's terrible, we have to improve things. I start from a different assumption. Excellence is out there. Have we the courage to reliably identify those in the blue zone, form a coalition of success around those, and then invite those in the yellow zone to join. And so coming up with ways to show how people teach doesn't make the discrimination between the blue and the yellow zone. And there are so many other ways that you can't see the difference. But there is one incredibly powerful way that discriminates between those in the blue and the yellow zone, and that is how they think. And each of those 7 core arguments is all about expertise. The expertise of the teachers and the expertise of the principals. And sometimes I struggle in our profession, because our profession sometimes is very good at denying its own expertise. Partly because we're nice people. We say, no, the kids did the work. Yeah, the parents did the assistance. We had the right resources. It gave us the right time. No, it's none of those. It's your expertise that makes the difference. And as I want to demonstrate in today's webinar, that thinking that underlines that expertise is the core argument about why some are in the blue zone and some are in the yellow zone.
Everyone needs a coach. It doesn't matter whether you're a basketball player, a tennis player, a gymnast, or a bridge player. We all need people who will give us feedback. That's how we improve. Unfortunately, there's one group of people who get almost no systematic feedback to help them do their jobs better. And these people have one of the most important jobs in the world. I'm talking about teachers.
But that may be changing as a growing number of schools embrace coaching as a strategy to improve teacher performance. As of 2016, 20% of public schools reported having a reading coach on staff, and 18% had a math coach. What's driving these investments? And is there any reason to think that they can improve teacher practice and ultimately student outcomes? So how do you define teacher coaching and what makes it distinct?
So teacher coaching is broadly characterized by, I would argue, 5 general tenets. It's individualized, focused around one-on-one interactions between coaches and teachers. It's intensive. Coach and teacher pairs work over a long period of time to really focus on instructional improvement. And it's sustained. It's particularly that over a semester or a full year that the coaching cycles continue so that teachers and coaches have the opportunity to practice multiple rounds of different pedagogical practices and refine them. It's context specific, and this is, I think, one of the most distinct elements of coaching relative to traditional PED, in that it is situated in each individual teacher's own classroom context and the challenges and opportunities that that context presents. And finally, it's focused. Although I would argue every teacher has a range of skills on which they could improve their practice and develop on their current strengths, coaching often tends to narrow down and focus on a core set of skills rather than being a mile wide and an inch deep.
What years of research show is that when teachers receive instructional coaching, the quality of their instruction improves enough to also lead to gains in student achievement and can build collective efficacy. The sheer belief and determination that students can and will learn regardless of zip code, parents, motivation, preparedness is what Hattie determined to be the #1 impact on student learning. Done with intention, coaching can build collective efficacy to drive student achievement, including building teachers' and leaders' capacity to plan for and evaluate their impact on student learning, use assessment and feedback for students, teachers, leaders, work collectively and develop a sense of community, challenge learners in their learning, develop and convey success criteria, listen as much as talk.
A growth mindset is the belief that you can develop your abilities through hard work, good strategies, input, help, mentoring from others. It doesn't mean everyone's the same. How supervisors and superintendents and leaders can help create an atmosphere where teachers can take that journey back to a growth mindset, back to what they became teachers for, and give that gift of love of learning, ability to persevere, give that gift to their students.
Dan Lordy famously characterized public schools as these egg crate structures in which teachers enter their classroom and close the door and largely operate as independent actors. And I would argue that today that norm is changing, although it's still the pervasive norm. And one of the things that comes out of our study is that conditions that help make coaching more successful are schools where the culture allows for and promotes those types of open door policies and cultures where teachers are comfortable with outsiders, including their own peers, observing them, providing feedback, and having a school-wide norm around continuous improvement.
So is this about changing the way teachers and leaders practice, or the way teachers and leaders think that makes the difference? Best of all, this mindset can be taught. In order for a culture of growth to permeate a school system, it needs to be nurtured and embraced by the leader. Creating a coaching system requires intention and strategy. In order for the system of coaching to take hold, it's important to lay out roles, expectations, and how coaches will be recruited and selected, and how they will be evaluated. Coaches come with many talents and competencies, but they also need support, including training and coaching procedures, as well as tools and resources to track visits, data, and next steps. An effective coaching system will identify teachers and leaders who are excelling, plateauing, struggling. It's important to ensure that coaches have time to work with their teachers and leaders multiple times a week. And important for leaders and teachers to have time to practice in between. Passive learning, research has found, is the key to improving teachers and principals' skills and abilities. Coaching practices with the strongest evidence for improving student outcomes include observation, modeling, sometimes referred to as demonstration, performance feedback, and very importantly, relationship building. Providing tools and resources to track these activities and the impact on outcomes is important to ensuring the focus remains central to student outcomes.